Dear students, I welcome you all to Avision Institute's online platform for competitive exams. This is Saroj Jha, and today in this class, we are going to analyze recently held questions of exams of Ibps Clerk. As you know, on 3rd and 4th of September, Ibps Clerk examination was conducted. So it was conducted in 4 shifts. Exam was conducted in 4 shifts. एक 9 to 10, 11:30 to 12:30, 2 to 3, and 4:30 to 5:30. So these were the 4 shifts in which IBPS clerk exams conduct हुआ. किस दिन? On 3rd and 4th of September. So we are going to analyze these. तो कितने हो गए? 8 shifts. 8 shifts. It means we had 8 sets of questions. 8 sets of questions. पहले क्या हो रहा था? Like maybe before lockdown, so examination used to conducted in 2 weeks. 3rd, 4th, again next week का weekends. अच्छा चलो, तो ये 4 शिफ्ट्स का एग्जाम्स है. तो थोड़ा सा हम देख लेते हैं कि in this exam, how was what was the complexity of questions? How are the questions composed? Question का weightage क्या था? और how to handle examinations in coming months or upcoming exams? Because by analyzing these questions and these sets of questions, we have to reboot ourselves for upcoming exams. कि हमारा strategy क्या होगा, approach क्या होगा. So usually what happens, I have kept on advising our students, that is students of Avision Institutes, don't be over dependent on grammar segment. What happens? Most of the students, they start their preparation from grammar and literally end with grammar. In between, if time permits, they practice vocabulary or maybe casually RC वगैरह, and that's all. So this kind of attitude will prove disastrous. Please kindly avoid it. Huh? So what has to be done? You should remember कि अभी जो 8 shifts of exams आया, उसमें error detections जो कि based on grammar है, they ask 5 questions in all the shifts. Minimum 5 questions were asked. तो लिटरली ग्रामर जो आप लर्न कर रहे हो उसका वेटेज 5 क्वेश्चंस है एग्जाम्स जो श्योर है. आफ्टर दिस, इन सम शिफ्ट्स, क्वेश्चंस ऑफ सेंटेंस इंप्रूवमेंट were asked 3 questions. But again, as you know, questions of different sets differ from questions of दूसरे steps. फिर से सुन, it is not feasible to maintain the same complexity of questions in all the shifts. तो सारे 8 shifts में same complexity feasible नहीं है maintain करना. So you will have different questions of different level of complexity in different shifts. अगर आप एनालाइज करोगे, ये प्रीवियस ईयर्स में भी हुआ है. Sometimes आईबीपीएस पीयू का जो क्वेश्चन है, आईबीपीएस क्लर्क का जो क्वेश्चन है, ये अनप्रेडिक्टेबल है. सम शिफ्ट का क्वेश्चंस यू विल, इट सीम्स लाइक ये एसएससी सीएचएसएल का जैसा होता है उस तरह का क्वेश्चंस लगे. ठीक है, कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी बहुत इजी है और अच्छे से कर रहे हैं, सारा चीज लग रहा है. एंड इन सम शिफ्ट्स इट सीम्स लाइक एसबीआई पीओ का क्वेश्चन आप कर रहे हो. गेटिंग इट? तो you should have made up your mind कि कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी जो है मे वैरी बिटवीन टू शिफ्ट्स. लेकिन इसका रेमेडी है. To avoid the variation of complexity, what they do, they impose normalization. ठीक? So, two normalizations they analyze, and then they either grant you some co or some marks are deducted. So this is how things go. Still good. So that's why I was saying you in some shifts they ask 3 questions of sentence improvement. It was not mandatory that all shifts you should have. तो ये हो गया. तो इट मीन्स लिटरली ग्रामर का जो वेटेज है आईबीपीएस क्लर्क के एग्जाम में वो ये 8 है. 8 क्वेश्चंस ऑफ ग्रामर आस्क्ड. आउट ऑफ दिस ये 3 भी मैंडेटरी नहीं है कि हर शिफ्ट में आया है. तो कितने हो गए? 30 में अगर 5 क्वेश्चंस आया, आप रख लो 5-6, तो ये हो गया अराउंड 20%. एम आई राइट? 25, यस, नियरली 20%. और अगर 8 क्वेश्चन आ गए तो थर्ड मे बी 35%. ठीक है, अप्रोक्सीमेट. इट मीन्स weightage of grammar varies from 20 to 35%. तो ये चीज सिक्योर्ड है, इतना तो रहेगा. इट मीन्स अगर ग्रामर का वेटेज 20 to 30% है, इट ऑल्सो मीन्स कि 70 to 80% क्वेश्चन जो है वो नॉन ग्रामर क्वेश्चंस होगा. यही ना? 70 to 80% क्वेश्चन जो आईबीपीएस क्लर्क एग्जाम में आया है वो नॉन ग्रामर क्वेश्चंस है. So if someone keeps spending 70 to 80% time on grammar, तो इट्स अगेन सुसाइडल अप्रोच है. ये क्या है? नथिंग बट सुसाइडल अप्रोच. So that's why I'm suggesting you for one segment don't spare overtime. चलो गुड, ये चीज आपका हो गया, केयर करना है. That's why I keep insisting that you should parallelly, even though when you're learning grammar, start practicing vocabulary, parajumble, RC. Okay, this is how you have to do it. So this is one segment. इसके बाद क्या है? They ask fill in the blanks का 5 क्वेश्चन. ठीक है? So for non-grammar questions, you will have what they asked, question from closed test, fill in the blanks, and then parajumble or RC. So basically what happens, as you know, if you see in simple words, grammar, vocabulary, and RC. Or RC को you can say comprehension. Comprehension में it means it comes RC also or parajumbles also. So literally 30% each. 30%, 30%, 30%. And then miscellaneous. This is how the questions were composed. Okay. So this is outline of how they ask you questions in Ibps Clerk. It is okay. So in closed test, they asked 5 questions. Okay. What happens in closed test? As you know, exams were conducted in 4 shifts on 2 days, 3rd and 4th of September. It means there were 8 sets of questions. In most of the sets, the closed test का जो options है ना, options were based on vocabulary based options. Options were based on vocabulary. But in some shifts, options जो था, options were based on grammar, the concept of grammar. And how can be options based on grammar? Because some options, they had given options like has, required, has been, required, has been, requiring, required. एक में था none. ठीक, में required, none का option required. This is how they asked. So when जिसमें grammar based option था, तो even in closed test they had given options in different forms of verbs. ये क्या है? It is nothing but grammar based option. So likewise in some of the closed test options, they had given options of preposition. Options of क्या? Preposition. It means एक ऑप्शन में in, एक में into, एक में in, एक में towards, एक में upon, एक में along. Done. So as I said, you in some shifts questions were based on options were based on vocabulary, but in certain shifts the questions were based on grammar and preposition. So this is how the questions of closed test compile. But overall, maybe you can say that in 70% questions of closed test, options were based on vocabulary. तो आप इसको थोड़ा सा देखो. So make sure कि आप closed test को थोड़ा सा अच्छे से देख के जाओ. What happens? Basically, closed test is nothing but extension of fill in the blanks. In certain shifts, बहुत सारे shifts में, in certain shifts, there were no questions of fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks का question नहीं था. In some shifts, there were 3 questions of fill in the blanks asked. 3 questions of fill in the blanks. Done it? So in some shifts, no questions of fill in the blanks were asked. In some shifts, 3 questions of fill in the blanks. ठीक है, और सरप्राइजिंगली फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स का भी एग्जैक्टली वही सिनेरियो है जो कि क्लोज टेस्ट का है. इन सम क्वेश्चंस options were vocabulary based options, and in some questions given options were based on preposition और grammar का option. But again priority क्या है? vocabulary ही है. इसके बाद इन parajumbles 5 questions of parajumbles were asked. 5 questions. And what happens? Again, in some shifts of parajumbles, the questions of parajumbles were moderate to easy. Or if you compare the questions of Ibps Clerk with the questions of SSC CGL, उनका जो parajumble आता है, or you can say rearrangement, है ना? तो some shifts का questions were complex, it means it consumes time, but some shifts का जो question था parajumble का, it was easy to moderate. Or if you have concepts of parajumbles, it means maybe for inexperienced or novice students, it may seems complex. मैं बता रहा हूँ क्वेश्चन में वहां पे क्या था, like in all the statement वो क्या था ना, सब में it करके था. Out of है ना 5 statements 4 में it करके था. और एक में कुछ other statement था, and again there was it. That's all. So this is the question in one of the exams they asked. Now the problem is, since nearly 4 statements they carry the pronoun it, so most of the people might be in a dilemma, how to get prioritize all these. And I believe one parajumble was about Twitter, है ना? The transparency in Twitter उसके बेस्ड का एक पैसेज था. Now you see कि if you are given the similar pronouns or and options in the statements, so how should you behave? What should be done? हुआ क्या? एक में ये जो 4th नंबर का स्टेटमेंट था, it was a definition. ये क्या था? ये definition था. So remember, if you have attended class properly, I keep saying the opening sentence is nothing but definition of an independent idea. समझ में आ गया? तो actually opening क्या होता है? Opening is nothing but definition of an independent idea. तो 4th options में they had given a definition. इसका मतलब ये कुछ नहीं है, ये opening sentence था. This is the opening sentence. And then बाकी जो 4 it है ना, one thing you should remember, parajumble में एक there is a concept. क्या concept है? एक में it is था, एक में it develops software, और कुछ था ठीक से, है ना? It has acquired property. something like this. So now, if you have attended class, you must have known this. There is a concept called कि description जो है ना, description comes before action. ये चीज क्या था? Description comes before action. तो जिस स्टेटमेंट में it is है ना, it means compared to statement 1 and statement 3, statement 2 should be given priority, है ना? Statement 2 और यहाँ पे I remember यहाँ पे भी कुछ auxiliary verb. Since it develops, ये क्या है? This is an action verb. ये है action verb. It has acquired, ये भी क्या है? It is an action verb. It is जो है is as an auxiliary verb. तो ये क्या है? It is nothing but description. Statement 2 क्या है? It's the descriptions. And as you know, what rule says? Paradigmal का rule है कि description comes before action. So if you would have taken care of description and action, you might have performed well. Or maybe in coming exams, you will perform well if you take care of some of the concepts of paradigm. So other than paradigmals, now two more things to be taken care of. वो क्या था? In reading comprehension segment, reading comprehension, what happens? In some shifts, they ask 5 to 8 questions. Yeah, 5 to 8 questions. It means in some shifts, they give you a paragraph, maybe around 400 words, 400 to 450, 500 words का एक paragraph, followed by 5 questions. And in some questions, what they do, they ask you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These were the 5 passage-based questions, and followed by 3 vocabulary-based questions. And what did they do? They underlined certain words. And they asked you, what does this word mean in the passage? Or they had asked what author wants to say or wants to convey through this word. ये आपका क्या था? ये आपका vocabulary का बेस्ड का क्वेश्चन था. But again, as I said you, sometimes they didn't ask you vocabulary, sometimes they asked 3 vocabulary. 3 में से 2 synonym था और 1 antonym था, and vice versa. कभी-कभी all synonym भी रहेगा, all antonym भी रहेगा. It depends. तो चलो, और रिमेंबर आरसी के क्वेश्चंस में होता क्या है? बैंक पीओ के क्वेश्चंस में दे गिव यू मल्टीपल ऑप्शंस. कैसा देगा? they ask you something, some questions, they give you 3 or 4 options, and they ask question number 1. Only C, B and D, A and C, only B, none. ठीक है. तो in IBPS PO questions, RC का most of the questions they ask you multiple options के form. इस बार IBPS clerk के एग्जाम में what I noticed, hardly एक क्वेश्चन था out of 5, hardly one question they had given you multiple options के फॉर्म में, और बाकी क्वेश्चन क्या था? जो यूजुअल ऑप्शंस होता है A B C D E, वो इसी फॉर्म में. क्या So what happens compared to मल्टीपल ऑप्शंस का जो क्वेश्चंस होता है, जो यूजुअल स्टेटमेंट है सिंगल ऑप्शन का क्वेश्चन, इट्स अ मच और ना फार इजियर टू सॉल्व, इट कंज्यूम्स लेस टाइम। चलो ये आरसी का था। और एक लास्ट चीज जो नोटेबल था, और एक्चुअली वो है दो चीज, वो था दो तरह का। एक तो क्वेश्चंस कॉल्ड करेक्ट यूसेज ऑफ वर्ड्स और एक था मिसस्पेल्ड वर्ड्स, है ना। करेक्ट यूसेज ऑफ वर्ड्स और मिसस्पेल्ड वर्ड्स। ये आई थिंक ये जो मिसस्पेल्ड वर्ड्स का है, ये आई थिंक द फर्स्ट टाइम आई कैन सी इन IBPS क्लर्क के एग्जाम में। व्हाट दे हैव डन इन अ स्टेटमेंट, अज्यूम करो कि ये स्टेटमेंट है और वहां पे 1 2 3 4 5 ठीक है। सो व्हाट डिड दे डू इन अ स्टेटमेंट, 5 वर्ड्स वर मेड बोल्ड, 5 वर्ड को अंडरलाइन करके बोल्ड कर दिया गया, है ना। These 5 words were used in a sentence, in a statement, and what did they ask? Which among the 5 is misspelled? इसमें से कौन सा वर्ड क्या है misspelled? ये एक स्टेटमेंट था। और बाकी के शीट्स में what did they ask? What did they do rather than misspelled? Correct usage of words में दो तरह से, पहला they have underlined 5 statements and then they have given options, option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4, option 5, and they had provided you 5 options. They asked which among these 5 options will replace all the five words. फिर से सुनो, ये जो सेंटेंस में वर्ड यूज हुआ है ना, कोई एक सिंगल वर्ड इस पांचों स्टेटमेंट को रिप्लेस कर सकता है, उसका मीन करता है। समथिंग देयर आस्क्ड यू, ये करेक्ट यूसेज ऑफ वर्ड्स। एक तो तरह से ये हुआ, और करेक्ट यूसेज में जो एक दूसरा पैटर्न का जो क्वेश्चंस दिखा वो क्या था, अ सिंगल स्टेटमेंट, अज्यूम करो कोई यहाँ पे एक वर्ड दिया हुआ है, जैसे कि एक था deny, deny, है ना, deny, and they have used deny in 5 statements. Or they say which is inappropriate usage. In which among the five statements the word deny is inappropriately used? So you have to read all 5 statements, and then देखो कि इसमें से कौन सा स्टेटमेंट में deny जो है inappropriately used हुआ है। This is correct usage of words. ठीक है, so that's why, as I said you, close test, mandatory 5 questions are asked, parajumble और RCC 5 questions are asked. तो 50% क्वेश्चन जो है इन तीनों चैप्टर से केवल आ रहा है। So I request all of you, so please make sure you you bother more about correct usage of words and vocabulary based questions. And remember what happens in Avision books. We have given a set of 400 words. Believe my words, IBPS क्लर्क का 90% जो ऑप्शंस है ना, fill in the blanks का और close test का 90% are options from that collections only. तो आप, if you have appeared in examinations and you can recall the options and words, go through the set of words of Avision Institutes and you will realize कि 90% ऑप्शन जो दिया रहेगा आपका IBPS क्लर्क के ऑप्शंस में, ऑप्शंस कैन बी ऑफ इन द ब्लैंक्स एंड क्लोज टेस्ट, वो उस सेगमेंट से है. तो प्लीज, इफ यू आर प्लानिंग टू अपीयर इन कमिंग मंथ्स, मे बी एसबीआई क्लर्क का एग्जाम आ रहा है और मे बी नेक्स्ट ईयर आरआरबी आ रहा है और इंश्योरेंस का बहुत सारे एग्जाम्स है. तो इन दैट केस, फॉर close test and fill in the blanks, focus on that set of words, 400 words. Plus, on our websites, we have uploaded hundreds of parajumble ka questions with explanations. So please practice more parajumble, more vocabulary, or error detections or improvement ke questions ke liye there are certain exceptional concepts. So if you work on those exceptional concepts, so most questions revolve around exception usage. So this is what I updated you about the questions and the pattern of questions that are asked in recent exams of IBPS clerk. I will be keeping updating you in coming weeks once we have got some more updates. So thank you very much for your time. Have a great day.